Okay, and then finally to finish this one out, they wanted us to find that second derivative at t equals 3. So once you get all of this simplified, go ahead and plug in your 3. Of course, those will reduce, so we get negative 1/3. Okay, so the first step for number 16, we have the two implicitly defined x's and y's, and we're supposed to find the slope of the curve. So we need to kind of follow through with the same steps we had before. We need to find dx dt and dy dt. So dx dt, we just take the derivative of our function x, which I already worked on doing that here. So dx dt is equal to this value here. And then dy dt. Now, all that we were given was that y times t minus 1 equals square root of t. So to get dy dt, we're going to have to do a little bit of work. We're going to take the derivative of both sides of this function, or both sides of this equation, with respect to t. So this is how we're going to find the derivative. Okay, so product rule, if we leave y alone and multiply by the derivative of t minus 1, that'll give us 1. And then we need to take the derivative of y. Now, we're doing this with respect to t, so that's going to leave us with a dy dt. And then, remember, non-matching variables, and then the derivative of t, or leave t minus 1 alone, sorry. And then on the right-hand side, we need to take the derivative of square root of t. So we're going to have a half with a square root of t in the bottom. And then by chain, it would be times the derivative of t, which is 1. So now we need to take this equation and solve it for dy dt. So we get dy dt times t minus 1 equals, we need to subtract y from both sides first. So we have 1 over 2 square roots of t minus y. And then divide both sides by t minus 1. So dy dt will equal 1 over 2 square roots of t minus y times 1 over t minus 1. Now if we look at our equation up here, we know that y times t minus 1 was equal to square root of t. So that means that y is going to be square root of t over t minus 1. So we need to plug that in down here. So square root of t over t minus 1 times 1 over t minus 1. And then we need to try to simplify this as much as we can. Okay, so continuing with this question, what we've done so far is we have found dx dt and dy dt. We need to find the slope of the curve at t equals 4. So that means that we need to find dy dx at t equals 4. dy dx is going to be equal to dy dt over dx dt. So take both of your derivatives that we just found, evaluate them at t equals 4, and you get this great big function over this great big function with 4 plugged in. And then that is all going to simplify down to 10 square root of 3 over 9. So there's quite a bit of algebra to do in this. I did pause the video a couple times, so it may, whenever you watch it, may look like it skipped ahead. And that was just because I was pausing so I could write out a bunch of steps. But you have all of the notes uploaded in Blackboard, and you can print them out. Pause the video, follow along through the algebra, and let me know if you have any questions.